which is
We know what this is.
Ed's Road, Otara. Welcome.
Through the chair, would you like to take the item as read?
Oh,
or-
sorry, Butler.
Yes.
Yeah, well, why not? There's,
I'm happy to
By the
move it.
local board, I suggest we just keep
Excuse me,
moving.
Chair. Oh, sorry, Chair. Can I, and I don't know whether how we're going to do this, but I just was going to move that the two relating to the Otara Papatoetoe local board be moved.
Okay.
And I mean, I'll
you have a second?
move that in second, Councillor Collins.
Okay.
And then that way at least we
Yep.
can get those two off, Chair.
And I'm happy to do the one for Papakura.
Oh, there you go.
I'll second that.
So that's three.
I know, we're listening to that, so.
Should we just move them all?
In fact, does anyone have a problem if we just move them all?
First two.
That's a good idea.
I just wanted to cover off, I didn't want to presume anything.
Practical solution.
Throw the whole lot.
I'm keen for that.
Does anyone second my
Okay.
motion to move
Right,
them all?
no, what I'm doing is I'm
Yep.
I'm asking Councillor Filippo, Councillor Collins, do you wish to move and second them all?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's good.
If that's the case,
I'll support
no problems at all, Chair.
Unless someone wants to get their name behind something, it's, I mean, it's,
No,
yes.
happy. No,
okay.
good
Are
one.
there any questions of Letitia and Anthony on any of those disposals in the broad group there?
Does that include the Glengarry property?
That
Yes,
includes
was-
all of them?
That
Yep.
was,
In
the
which
question
case-
about the Glengarry one is good, yeah, because
Call
it
an
was opposed
exception
by
on
the local
Glengarry.
board.
Any else is for it?
I do have a question, Mr Chair.
Yep. Oh, we have Parks.
And
Well,
that's
just
just,
Parks will give their advice on Glengarry Road. And
Let me just find Glengarry Road.
Okay, I note the position that the local board is taking around Glengarry. Question I've got is particularly around the provision of a walkway at some point through this property. I can appreciate that there could be some complications around that, and also just around the likelihood for reserves in this area given the intensification that's occurring.
walkway first.
Walkway first. Through the chair, in terms of a walkway for this would appear to be, it wouldn't actually at the moment be street to street, but potentially that would be the nature of a walkway, which would put it as an Auckland transport type asset. So it's not providing a connection between green space, which would make it a parks asset. It would be an Auckland transport one. In terms of wider provision for the needs of growth, so we've made an assessment in terms of supporting this disposal against the open space acquisition policy. It doesn't meet any of our existing criteria in terms of meeting community needs now and the future. So there is, within 200 metres, Nicholas Reserve. Within 350 metres, we have Pars Park. So we're meeting the provisions of the policy, the open space provision policy, which is in this area of low density is 450 metres walking distance to a neighbourhood park. So we've met that. As I said earlier, it doesn't provide connection between open space, it doesn't protect and restore any unique features, and it doesn't actually help improve the parks and open space that we already have. There are some particular issues around this site which don't make it particularly suitable for a park long term, and that is that it has very narrow street access. It's a long strip of land. That in itself poses problems for safety, and it goes against, again, the current policy, which is to have much broader access into our parks. The reason for that is a safety, but it also increases utilisation of the open space. So that's the position we have come to.
Through you, Mr Chair.
Yep, supplementaries allowed.
The issue that I've got is not around connectivity in terms of park to park, because quite clearly it doesn't serve that need, but rather in terms of a walkway cycleway network, which is more the purvey of Auckland Transport, which could at a later point in time link up with the roading network in the location. My question is, has any thought been given to that, especially given the nature of the property, its long and narrow nature, which might lend itself to just a modest subdivision for a walkway, and still lend itself to on sale?
Through the chair, my understanding is that this was originally a transport asset. It was road reserve. So I can't speak for the future plans for Auckland Transport, but I guess they have decided that this was a non-service asset, which is why it was up for disposal. We have managed it as a parks asset in the short term, but as I described, it doesn't fit with our current policy parameters.
Through you, Mr Chair, I'm just registering an ongoing issue that I believe things are falling through the cracks in terms of improving walkability, mobility generally, and I would have thought that this was a golden opportunity moving into the future and that we would be actively looking at progressing this kind of opportunity. Sure.
Sorry, through the chair, if you look at the aerial image that's at the top of, sorry, I don't have an agenda copy on me, but if you look at the aerial image of the site on your agenda, you'll see that there's been quite a bit of subsequent development at the rear of the site that would mean by itself the site couldn't be used to connect to any other existing green space or walking or cycleway without acquiring land from other properties.
I understand that.
Councillor Simpson.
Mr Chairman, my 3 questions have been answered by that gentleman just then, so I'm happy to.
Right, there are no more questions that I see, and we have a block vote on all of those. So I'm going to move.
Aye.
Second by Councillor Filipino Collins. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against?
I'll have my vote recorded against 315A Glengarry Road.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Chair, councillors.
Thank you.
Auckland Transport to do that.
So we have a procedural item number 10.
11.
11, I should say. We've done 10.
I'll move.
Don't go back to 10, Mr Chairman.
Moved by the Mayor, seconded by Councillor Filipana. And we have a question.
Yeah, my question is in this forward work area, I'd just like some help in identifying where the areas are that are going to improve our ability to fund infrastructure, to fund the acquisition of more park space and other things that are critical priorities for this council.
That was the previous item, the disposals.
No, it wasn't. But I take your point. So you get my question, Mr Chair?
I did. Maybe we should ask the Mayor to respond to that, and the Deputy Mayor might better say where we're going to get the money from for
No,
future infrastructure investment.
it wasn't the money. It's where the work program is prioritising that, given that they're the critical issues for this council.
Through the chair, in response to your question, that will be will come through part of the annual plan process and also will continue in the LTP.
Okay, I understand that response. My concern is that if there's one issue that we really need to focus on, and I mean really focus on, that's it, and we should have a specific item around that rather than just hiding it in some related process. That would be my recommendation, sir.
Again, if I may, there is no suggestion that we're trying to hide that. If you recall the last meeting last governing body meeting, we had the Housing Infrastructure Fund submission. That is a significant component of work. We also have a lot of work being undertaken on the ATAP requirements, with a further piece of work leading up to potentially, as a result of that, what could be, should the Crown be supportive, as a HIF fund type 2. Which I might defer.
Three,
and 3 and 4.
4, 5 and 6.
Yeah.
No, that would be, as Sue Tyndall has said, we're looking at building on that. But I think we have had the discussions about the obvious places where we expect the central government to make a contribution, and we have before us in our annual plan 1 or 2 proposals, such as the targeted rate, where we're looking at raising money locally.
Sure. And
we're looking at further examination of things like value uplift when we put in infrastructure, and we're working with government, we will be working with government on that as well.
Sure. So through you, Mr Chair, my concern is that if a member of the public were looking at what we're doing, and they look at our work program, they're not going to pick that up. They would be expecting to have some incredibly focused response on this, on the part of this council, that would be emphasised here. That's my point. And I understand that we're doing stuff. Just how well we're doing it, what focus we're giving it, remains to be seen, but I'd just like to see it clearly delineated and focused. Thank you.
So you're obviously aware it does cut across several committees, and we're looking at the Auckland Plan refresh, among other things. We've just cemented in the unitary plan, and the LTP is really our last of the trio of substantial changes where we make that impact. So watch this space with the LTP. And as to do Aucklanders understand, I think they do understand to a degree. I just remind people from the last LTP, we got 27,000 submissions, and that was double the submissions of the previous LTP.
Yep.
So, you know, the post 2004, is it 2004 changes to the legislation, and the way we've gone about effectively consulting seems to have certainly, we're getting greater feedback. And Councillor Walker, just the one last thing is, remember, next with the LTP, we possibly will be doing a scientific survey as well, which will obviously, it costs money, but it means we actually can access accurately the information, certainly from those groups that perhaps don't submit as much, and that we could be talking about ethnic minorities or whatever.
Which survey?
We will be contemplating at the LTP whether we actually do a scientific survey as well.
A scientific survey?
Through the university approved, where will be part of the consultation, yeah.
So what science are we looking at here?
Just don't go there. Okay, I'm going to declare the meeting, have we done everything? We've moved? Oh, we've got a mover and a seconder. Put that motion, all those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Thank you. There are no extraordinary items, I declare the meeting closed.